G'day, everyone. Welcome back to another Toon Under podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast, all things Newcastle United. Today, we've got another bumper show. As always, there's never a dull moment, as we say in the world of Newcastle United, and this morning's result was no different. So if you're here, you may as well subscribe to our channel. We're 40 short of hitting 1,500, so if you could just give us a subscribe, that'd be awesome, so we can try and crack through the 1,500 barrier by the end of the year. Jack, you've been up since 3:30 this morning. I've been up since 4:30 this morning, but it's all worth it for games like this, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. I actually got back to sleep for a little bit. It was my turn for lie-in, so I did have another hour afterwards. Eventually, when I'd calmed down a bit.
I was going to say, how do you get your blood right down?
We were sitting here though, me and you, last week, and there was a little bit of frustration about conceding a goal. And I'll remember this feeling after the Liverpool game. That was just horrible. That feeling where you've got to go and get on with your week, and you've just lost a game like that. But today is the exact opposite of that. It just feels so good, and it's one of those games that, since the takeover, we've had a number of games like this that have just felt so big and have been such big wins, and this is definitely one of them. Yeah,
it's funny, like the Liverpool one. I think these games, they hit different. Obviously, they're big teams and stuff like that, but with all respect to like your Wolves and teams like that, we don't really know many people who go for the like Wolves or like who can rub it in. When it comes to the big teams, we've all got friends who are Liverpool fans. We've all got friends who are Arsenal fans and Manchester United fans and Chelsea fans and things like that. So we've been kicked and stomped and punched for 20 years, and now we're starting to be able to chirp back and chip back at them. And just like their managers, they don't like it, do they?
They do not like it. And every time we win a game like this as well, it's just another mark for us that we're getting there, like it's not like a one-off victory for a small club against a big club. This is like, we're here to compete now. We're here and we're winning. This season alone, we've beaten Manchester City, Manchester United, PSG, and Arsenal just this season. So it feels, every time we win a game like this, it's another little statement that we're here and we're not going anywhere, and it's bringing us onto that level of being a big club where soon we're going to be the scalp for other clubs when they beat us.
Yeah, I think I'd argue we're at that stage now. Like when teams beat us, it's big, and they carry on and they act. Even teams that have got draws against us, they celebrate the draws because we're a really good team now and we're really hard to beat. So it is at the stage now where I think we are that good team. We're a great team and we are a scalp. I don't think you can deny that any longer, whether other clubs, fans and that want to actually believe it or not. But it's true. Like that's just how things are now, and it probably will be for a long time to come, as long as we keep progressing the way we're going to progress. Like, we're going to get better and better, and these games are going to be bigger and bigger. And I think there'll be games like this where we spoke about this. Eddie spoke about this at length. Small margins, like we had 3 small margins in one game. Like this is our lot now. Like, we're going to play big games and we're going to play them often. So get used to it. I don't think you ever get used to it, but
especially at St James's Park as well. The games have that sense of occasion about them as well.
Yeah,
like these kind of evening tea time, evening kickoffs as well.
Anything under lights is an occasion now.
Yeah, and the events of the game itself can play into it as well. But like we're just such a hard team to play at St James's Park. I think we keep keeping clean sheets. We're winning games there. And, you can see by the way Liverpool reacted when they beat us. I know the circumstances as well were a big part of that, but they knew what a big result it was for them at that stage as well, because we just don't lose at St James's Park very often at all. I think only what you would class as big elite teams have actually beaten us since Eddie came in.
Yeah, and I think you ask Jurgen Klopp, I reckon he'd say that's one of their best wins since he's been as manager. And like, fair play to him, it was a good win for them. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Arsenal. So we'll get straight into the lineup. Back to our probably best available 11, I reckon, Jack. So we had Pope in goal, obviously Trippier, Lascelles, Shah, and Byrne as a back three. Bruno, Longstaff, and Joel Linton as a midfield three, and Almiron, Gordon, and Wilson as that front three as well. I think the big surprise for everyone was seeing Jacob Murphy on the bench, Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch a press conference this week. I had a few other things on that I needed to watch. But from what I did see, I think most of the talk was he'd avoided surgery, which I think the question must have been, how was he going? And Eddie said, well, the good news is that he's avoided surgery. So everyone's like, oh, well, that's a good thing. And it's always really hard. I don't think he was asked for a time frame at all. But, 2 days later, he's on the bench. Did you watch all the press conference or not?
No, I didn't watch it all, but yeah, I saw that he'd said that. Eddie doesn't give away what he doesn't have to give away in press conferences anyway, but it was a surprise to see him on the bench, and it's a mark of how far he's come that it was a really positive feeling when you saw his name there. You know, like it's not that long ago that he was out on loan to Sheffield Wednesday. You know, we thought he'd be long gone by now, but here he is. You know, making an appearance, playing a part in the goal as well, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. You know, positive feelings when he's on the bench. If he didn't need surgery before, he probably does now though. After
no, he definitely does.
His shoulder popped out mid game again.
Yeah. Part of that, I thought when I'd sort of seen him, and then an hour later when he'd done it again and he's out, part of me thought, I wonder if they're trying to see if they could squeeze him into Harvey Barnes gets back, and sort of like, well, if you do it after he gets back, we're kind of no different to what it was. But yeah, he lasted 20 minutes or something, not even 20 minutes. But it was good to see Lewis Miley back on the bench as well. I know he'd had a bit of an injury cloud over him, so it was good to see him back, just in case we needed another midfielder to come on. Even though Joe Willock is on the bench after I think he played about an hour during the Manchester United game, so he got through, which is really, really good. We've got plenty to get through in this episode, so let's not dilly-dally any longer, Jack. Let's get straight into the meat and potatoes of it all. A bit of a cagey start. Like we said, two really good teams generally when they play each other. They're really tight affairs, and they're fine margins that separate the two. But I guess the first real big flashpoint, I think there was a bit of sort of niggle and spice leading up to this, but it was the Kai Havertz challenge on Sean Longstaff was, how would you say it? Agricultural, I think, would be one of the words that come to mind. Live, it was hard to judge given the camera angle and the distance from the actual challenge and things like that. But after you've seen a replay or two, I'd be quite comfortable if that was a red card. I know you may be a little bit different with your opinions in that, but you can go into them, but I thought that was a red card tackle.
We've got history with him as well after that Chelsea game a few years ago where he elbowed Dan Burn and got away with that, and then he scored the winner right at the end. So there's a bit of needle there with him anyway. Probably, I think live at the time it was reckless. You know, it was late. It was reckless. I think
was he out of control?
I probably was out of control, but I think what saved him was his front foot didn't actually touch Longstaff, or if it did, it was tiny brush on Longstaff's shin. So effectively, his trailing leg swiped Longstaff, which, you know, his studs didn't get him, and it was more of like a swipe in the end. I can see why. I thought the ref was going to give a yellow, so I can see why he did, and I can see why it wasn't overturned. If it had have been sent off, it would not have been overturned as well. It was for me, it was a classic like orange card in between a yellow and a red.
Yeah, go and have 10 or 15 minutes, and you can come back.
Yeah. Like it was
after that.
Shelby did a few of them for us where, you know, he didn't get sent off when he could easily have been sent off. I think
the one that springs to mind for me was the Trippier one against Man City, which I think was a red. and then it got downgraded
Overturn.
to a yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about this tackle was like it helped us, even though he didn't get sent off. The crowd got fired up straight away.
Oh yeah.
The players got fired up. Everybody was into it at that point, and it had been a bit of a not cagey, but both teams were kind of cancelling each other out, and it was a game where the defenses were very much on top, and then that just sparked life into everybody, got everyone fired up. The referee kind of lost control of things completely.
Yeah, he definitely
like,
lost control of it.
Like it's you look at that tackle and then you could fast forward it, 3 minutes later without seeing anything else that happened. And Newcastle have got 3 yellow cards and he's got a yellow card, and it's like, how's that even happened? But
yeah,
probably by the letter of the law. Like, I know they're trying to crack down on dissent and things, but if you're going to book 3 players for dissent from the same incident, you've lost control, and you're gonna make a rod for your own back later, or you're going to be accused of inconsistency if you don't then do it every time someone complains at you. And that's what he did. So he completely lost control.
Which that happened later. We might get to that later on in the game, but the same thing happened with Arsenal players surrounding him about a decision as well. But we'll get to that shortly. But I think it's an emotional game, like for players, spectators, coaches, everything. And when, like, especially with our team, there's a real brotherhood and a camaraderie between the whole squad, like the whole club, really, not just the players, the staff, just not the coaching staff, like the whole club staff as well. Like, it's a real family vibe. And when you see one of your teammates, one of your friends get sort of challenged like that, it brings out an emotive response. Like, I'm all for dissent, and I said this at the start, like when they first announced these laws, it's a really good thing because it's starting to get out of hand. But I think there is a time where you can use a little bit of common sense and understand that why they're the way they are and things like that. But it's just, the consistency is the one that kills you.
Yeah, it probably depends kind of what's said, like, and if the players are being sort of aggressive, or if they're if they're just being abusive in his face, like, it's if they're protesting, and there's no point in protesting anyway. Once the decision's made, the decision's made. I know it went to VAR, but there's like, I get what you're saying. It is the emotion that comes in. As long as it's not abusive, or as long as it's not aggressive, like, I think
threatening or anything like that. Yeah.
And if the ref's kind of in control, like, no ref just goes giving cards out like that if they're in control. He's lost control of his own emotion in that situation. And he's not managed to keep a lid on things, which is part of the job when you're a referee of a elite Premier League football match.
Yeah, I think they can actually take a leaf out of rugby union's book, where when things start to get a little bit spicy and stuff like that, call the captains over and get them to have a word with their players and just tell them to calm down. Like when it's a ticky touch, controversial decision, I can understand, but I can understand dissent, like giving cards and stuff like that. But like when you see one of your friends sort of in danger of a very serious injury, and he was very lucky that it wasn't a very serious injury. Like, that's a response you get. Like, you can't. It's really hard to take that out of the game. That's why I think, even if it's just, call your captain over, call Lascelles over. I'm not sure. I can't remember who was Arsenal's captain last night with Odegaard.
Jorginho, I think it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I think so. Call him over. Sort of get everyone away. Hey, go spend 20 seconds and control your players and things like that, and let's get on with it. Because, like we said, as a result, Bruno lost his head. He completely lost his head for about half an hour, and we like to be what's the word I'm looking for? Fair.
Balance. Yeah,
we're very balanced on this podcast. If Havertz deserved the red card, then Bruno deserved one as well. Like, let's not sugarcoat or anything like that. He lost his head, and he was very, very lucky to stay on the pitch for 90 minutes.
He was very lucky, and he's got this in him. And we've said this. I've said this. I can remember saying this at least 4 or 5 times on this podcast. After he's got away with things, he got away with one against PSG, I think it was, where for no reason at all, just before half time, he punched somebody. Which he got.
It's always in the last It always seems to be in the last sort of 10 minutes of the first half, and
when
everyone's
he
like,
doesn't need to do it. Yeah,
yeah, just get him to halftime and get him to like cool off a little bit. But
yeah.
tonight or this morning, that didn't even work. He was still heated, like when he come back and he barged. Was it Jorginho over or was it
I
Havertz? I
think
can't
it was
remember.
Jorginho again. Yeah, he barged
Yeah,
him, and
just
then he
like
did
he
get
passed the
booked
ball.
eventually.
Yeah, and that was probably the work that the stupidest, not the least
Yeah,
threatening one that he did that he actually got booked for. But which we'll also see miss the game against
yeah.
Bournemouth next weekend. But
He's got that edge. He's got that edge in his game, and that's
yeah,
you probably maybe you can't take that away from him because then he's a different player. But it's not like he's just stupid sometimes. Like I just think he lets his emotions get too much for him, and he
yeah,
does things that are just not smart things to do. And he got sent off against Southampton, last season, and that was maybe a little bit unlucky, but maybe not. That was
he
again
put
a
himself in that
situation
position
he
in the
didn't
first
need to
place.
do it. He
Yeah,
didn't need to do it. The game was
yeah,
won, and we were getting to the final, and he just did that anyway. So it will come and bite him again in the future. I'm convinced of this. It's really gonna
yeah,
bite him in a big game sometime, and we're all going to be sitting here saying he's very stupid. I'm saying it now. He's stupid. He got away with it, and it's a good job he did because I think they would have won if we'd gone down to 10. I think it would
yeah,
have been very, very difficult because they're such a good team.
yeah. So yeah, that was the first half, and I think we all kind of exhaled at once the halftime whistle went. Like it was just good to kind of breathe and have 15 or 20 minutes just to try and digest what we've just seen for the first, probably not the 45 minutes, probably really only the 20 minutes, wasn't it? That it got a bit sort of spicy. And I think we're starting to get a bit of a rivalry with
Yeah.
Arsenal now. Like, it sort of started Eddie's first year when we destroyed them and killed off their Champions League dream, I guess. And then last year, the 0-0 at the Emirates was pretty spicy as well. There was a lot of tit for tat and the time wasting thing and all that, which was coincidental that there was only one team who was really keen on time wasting yesterday. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't us. Whether that was a tactic to see if we'd try and bite and get under our skin and things like that, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was sort of so half time, 0-0. The same thing, real cagey. Two great teams basically cancelling each other out, and it was kind of like a boxing round, really. Sort of the first half, they're just throwing a few jabs, not really going to throw one in case they cop one back. But it kind of felt like, Jack, after half time, we were happy to get to half time. I think they were happy to get to half time, sort of not scored against. But I reckon we just turned it up a little bit after half time and started asking them a few more questions and stuff like that and put a bit more pressure on. And the goal
Mhm.
eventually came, not just in the second half, but after about 20 minutes of checks and all that sort of stuff. But I thought the best way to sort of talk about this was in chronological order. So we'll start at the start. The ball goes through to Murphy, who whips a very enticing ball across the face of goal, which no one touches, and Willock chases it sort of to the far Gallagher corner flag, just sort of near the byline. So, Jack, was the ball in or was the ball out?
Well, I don't know. Nobody knows. It was the
Hmm.
word of the day is inconclusive. It was the officials decided that they couldn't say that it was all out. It looked like it was out from the naked eye from the angle we had. So, but just because it looks like it's out from that angle doesn't actually mean that it is out. I got these slides from this game from Japan in the World Cup, which I'm gonna flash up. So you can see from this that looks like it's out. The bottom of the ball, the bit of the ball touching the ground is past the line,
There's
but the
definitely,
rule is the
yeah,
whole ball has to
for
be
those
over the
listening,
line.
yeah, for those listening, there is definite grass between the ball on the ground and the byline. Like there is a
Yeah,
clear green patch of grass.
yeah, and
But
and I remember watching this game and thinking that's definitely going to be out. But then you look at this angle, and the edge of the ball is actually touching the line, or it's not across the line fully.
So if you look at it, for audio listeners, if you're looking at it from above, there is no grass between the actual ball and the white line.
Yeah. So and I think in the World Cup they had the fancy technology. So I don't know why they can't do the Hawkeye thing that they've got for the whole line.
So I'm going to bring that up now. I might even just chuck up a slide from our friends from, I think it was Gorilla Hands brought this up at,
it was
on Be In. So I'm not sure where they got this from, but it seems to be, I think they said it might have been from the Premier League. I'm not sure if the VAR centre had this available as well, but there is a slither of the ball still on the line. So if you're looking at it from their technology point of view, there is a slither of the ball. So I'm not sure if that was used or not, or how they actually got this technology, but definitely in our post-game show anyway, Jack, I'm not sure if you went to bed straight after the game, but they had Shay Given and Ian Wright on our post-game here in Australia on Optus. And as far as they knew, that the Premier League had said, like you said, it was inconclusive. They couldn't definitively say that ball was out or not. So that's part of the reason why the goal stood. I guess my biggest point and gripe in all of this is the richest league in the world. So why can't they invest in the best technology in the world? Like, you think back to even the Champions League game against PSG, like Dan Burn's goal was, like, it was nearly instantaneous that they'd said that ball would cross the line or not. The Premier League is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They should be investing in the best technology for this sort of stuff available, so these things aren't inconclusive. They are conclusive one way or the other to say that ball was in or that ball was out.
Yeah, the Hawkeye is in the goal line is actually one of the technologies that no one argues with it. You know, everyone agrees that that's a good use of technology in football. So I don't know why they can't just do it for the whole line, the whole goal line, because these kind of things do happen fairly often. It probably happens almost as often as going in over the goal line that it actually goes over that touch line. And there's before a goal. We had another one earlier in the season with Gordon against Sheffield United, I think it was.
Yeah.
So we've kind of benefited from two very close calls. But yeah, you can't. If it had been given out, then it's a bit like the Havertz tackle. Like, if it was given out, it wouldn't have been overturned to say it had stayed in. You know, like you're talking about like millimeters here.
Yeah.
Like, being a referee and a linesman is such a hard job, and you can't lose sight of that. Like, even, you know, it's very, very difficult. And this is, we've been looking at these all day, like all aspects of this goal, and people still can't agree about it. You know, like, if it had been disallowed, there would have been people, Newcastle fans, but also neutrals, saying it shouldn't have been disallowed. You know, so they're never going to get it all right, and they're never going to keep everyone happy. Sometimes they go for you, sometimes they don't. We're very lucky on this occasion it did.
Yeah, but that's my point. You can keep everyone happy. You invest in this technology.
Okay, yeah.
And it's conclusive. Like, there's no arguments anymore. The ball was in or the ball was out. Like, it makes too much sense. Maybe that's why they don't do it, because it makes too much sense, and these conversations drive content and everything like that. So I reckon part of them would probably be happy about it. But I mean, I think in this whole series of events, the only thing that should have been subjective was the next part of the goal, was as Willock has crossed the ball in, Joel Linton, was it a foul or was not a foul? So for me, this is the only thing that is subjective, because you should have the technology to check to see if the ball was out. You should have the technology to check if Gordon was offside. We'll get to that in a minute. But so this is the only subjective thing I think that should have happened. Do you think it was a foul?
No, I do not think it was a foul. Like, maybe this is with my black and white eyes and my Newcastle hat on, but at the time, I didn't think that it was remotely a foul. It just didn't look. It looked like it was a fair challenge from Joe Linton, and you can put it on the replay and you can slow it down and you can look at a freeze where he's got both of his hands on his back, but he's already going down though. Like it was weak defending, and I like to think that a bit like last week with the penalty that we got. I like to think that if it was the other way around, I would be saying that's bad defending, and not blaming officials, because at the time it did not look like a foul. And I think anything can look worse if you slow it down and if you freeze frame things. You can have it to suit you whatever you want, but in real time, the naked eye test, it wasn't a foul. It was a fair challenge. You're going to use your arms when you're jumping, when you're going for the ball. It was a good cross in. Blame the goalkeeper as well for getting stuck under it.
That was going to be my next point. So he got
he didn't defend it properly.
He got right outside his right hand post after when chasing the ball that Willock ended up getting, and he kind of just didn't get back. Whether he thought it was going to get called out as well, and he didn't actually. Like everyone's taught to nearly every sport that they play when they're a kid, you play to the whistle, and he didn't play to the whistle, and he kind of got the ball just kind of looped over his head because he didn't get back to where he should have been, like in the middle of his goal. And we might get to we'll definitely get to Mikel Arteta's comments shortly, but part of that could be part of the whole ruse that questions should be asked about their defending and their lack of impetus around goal, not this decision or this goal that was given. Like they're the real issues here, not this. But it actually reminded me, this stuff happens every corner. Every single corner, this happens, and no one bats an eyelid. And now it's an issue. No one bats an eyelid because it's not an issue. That's the reality of it. So
it's part of the physical. It's part of the physical nature of football. Like it's a contact.
He's a big guy. Joel Linton is a big, powerful human being.
Guys. So's Gabriel. They're both big, strong guys. Gabriel should not have been under the ball. He shouldn't have been falling anyway. It's weak defending, and it was fine.
So I thought he wasn't ready for the contact. But if he's ready for contact, he can sort of, I guess, brace his body, and he's big and he's strong, and he's going to like hold his ground and things like that. I don't think he was ready for the contact. And then even the slightest contact, and he's already sort of falling forward like that. Like you said, it's poor defending. It's maybe a lack of awareness of what's around you as well. And which leads to the next part.
If Joe Linton pushes you in the back, like if he pushes you, you're going to end up in the back of the net because he's that big. Like it doesn't matter how big you are. If he pushes you in the back, you're going to fall into the net and probably break through it.
He would have ended up. I was going to say he would have ended up at the front bar of the strawberry, but we'll stick with the back of the net. So the next part was the offside. Now, through all these three events, could they have had any worse camera work for the whole lot? Like, it was disgusting. Like, you could not. There's probably 20 cameras at the ground, and not one of them could give you a conclusive decision on any of them. Like, this should, like I said, I'll go back. It shouldn't happen in the richest soccer league in the world. These things shouldn't be conversations. The only conversation is whether the foul was on Joel Linton or not, and it wasn't because we've already figured that part out. But
we've already agreed.
Yeah, it wasn't offside at all, was it?
I don't know. I don't know the rules around if the goalkeeper's in front. I don't actually know the rules. I've tried looking at it, but it just made my head hurt. So, but as far as I'm concerned, it kind of went backwards anyway. I don't think the ball went forwards. Like, so
I reckon it went slightly backwards as well. So I don't know. Can you be offside if you? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it was offside, or it might be. I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the rule exactly is around this. But either way, it's not what the offside rule is for anyway. Like there was obviously a defender there, so it's offsides originally back in the old days was to prevent people from goal hanging. And he was goal hanging, but only because there'd been a cross coming in, and the goalkeeper had fallen over.
Yeah.
I don't think it was offside.
I think after was it 4 or 5 minutes? I think of probably even longer. It might have been 6 or 7 minutes of checking and checking and checking. Finally, the goal gets awarded. We take a lead, and then I guess kind of revert back to how we were in the first half was really compact, hard to break down, and I don't think Arsenal really threatened us. They had a lot of the ball after our goal and never looked like scoring, to be honest. Now, whether, like we said, no Jesus and no Odegaard in that final third maybe cause them a bit of a lack of impetus and a lack of goal threat as well, and finding it really hard to unlock our defence. But Jack, I don't know if you've been keeping track at home, but that's 4 Premier League games in a row now that we've kept a clean sheet at home. So let's give a bit of a shout out for the defenders, and I think there's one man in particular who you'd like to give some flowers to.
Yeah, well, he's been howled just the same way that Almiron and Murphy and Longstaff and basically everybody that he's coached since he came to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Lascelles, I said at the start of the season, I'd be very worried about going into a Champions League game or any Premier League game. Actually, to be honest, I did not want to see him. And I think he played 7 games last season, but he hardly got any minutes. But he's been absolutely incredible since he's come in. Like, he's even more comfortable on the ball now, and that just shows you he's 29, 30, and he's been coached how to play the way that Eddie wants him to play. He's an absolute consummate professional all the time, even when he wasn't playing last season, and that's why he's still a club captain, and that's why Eddie's kept him as the club captain. But these games where you're kind of not even getting bombarded, because like you said, Arsenal didn't really have much going forward. They had a lot of possession, but we were compact and we managed to defend the wide players really well, which was that was highlighted on Match of the Day, that's the main threat, Saka and Martinelli. And the way we defended them was good.
Yeah.
But
he was
Lascelles,
very quiet, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but that's because he was defended well. Like the left back when it was Burn and Trippier when he went across, but also Gordon was getting back to help out.
Yeah.
But Lascelles' performance was it was Herculean performance. When your back's against the wall and when you're getting crosses coming in, they had 10 corners or something. You don't want anyone else but him heading it out. He's just such a big, strong defender, and he's got that element now where he can play it out and pass it a bit. And I was wrong. I was wrong about him, about wanting him to be sold to make way for somebody else. Eddie's right, as he's pretty much always right about everything. But I didn't see it coming from him. But maybe I should because of what he's done with the other players. But he was just absolutely colossal today, and it was a really famous performance from him and a famous win.
Yeah, I think most people, when it comes to Jamal Lascelles, I don't think anyone's really questioned his defending. I think he's always been a pretty reliable defender, but the way the game's played now, you can't just be a really good defender. You need a lot more skills and attributes to be successful in this league, and probably through no fault of his own, really. He never really had them. Like, he wasn't great on the ball. He was a hacker, and when I mean hacker, I mean if he's under any pressure, the ball's going out or it's going 60 yards up the other end of the pitch. He had no real composure when he had the ball, and he was under pressure and stuff like that now. And like you said, given what he's done already, like, we shouldn't be surprised at all. But he's a completely different player now. He's still got that defensive solidarity, and he's really, really good defensively. But now he's comfortable on the ball and he doesn't panic, and he sort of does all this stuff. And I know there were, like you said, people who wanted him replaced as captain at the start of the year and wanted Trippier to have it full time and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I'm not just saying this now because he's playing well. I never thought that was a good idea. He's done a lot, and there's a lot more to being the captain of a club than playing 90 minutes on a weekend. And for what he's done since he took over the role as well, I think it would have caused a lot more dressing room unrest to take the captaincy off him and give it to Trippier rather than just keep him. And like you said, everything we've ever heard from him, even last year when he barely played, was, mate, he's first class. You cannot fault him at all. And that's what you want as a captain. You think about, how I'd like to go about it was ask the players what they want in a leader. At the end of the day, he's their leader. I don't think any coaches should pick it and things like that. And ask the players what they want and what they want their leader to be, and I'm sure that he ticked every single box that they wanted. And I think playing 90 minutes on the weekend is just a very small part of it. Like, they're there 6 days a week, and they're players between 17 and 34, 35. There's a lot of mischief they can get up to. They've got a lot of money, they've got a lot of time and things like that, and there'd be that much stuff that we don't hear about, that they manage to keep in house and stuff like that. And he'll be putting bushfires out every week, but the fact that it's never got out, or hasn't got out now that Ryan Fraser's gone, but yeah, the fact that nothing really major has ever come out under his leadership is a testament to him as well. So
it's the two things with it's, isn't it? It's the coaching job that Eddie's done, but also, like you said, the job for the culture he's created, like that. To strip Lascelles of the captaincy would have just gone against that. Like, he'll be the captain until he leaves, you know. I thought he might have been sold because he's one of the players who could have sold for sort of 8 to 10 million maybe, and that's fine. But he wasn't, and he's third choice centre back, and he's filled Botman's boots perfectly. He's been here for almost 10 years now. I think it was 2015 maybe he signed, or maybe
him and Darlow come together, didn't they? From
so he's been a club stalwart, and he's been through a lot. And for players like him and Murphy and Longstaff, who we hear when Bruce was there, you know,
Richie,
Richie, like there's a leadership group at the club, and he's the leader of the leadership group. And even when he wasn't playing last season, he was getting booked for grabbing the ball at throw-ins and things.
Yeah, it's great.
So he's just really
served a suspension without actually playing, which was
just what you want. Like you said, just what you want in a captain, and you can just see why Eddie loves him so much. And I remember listening to Trippier last season, and he said he was talking about the captaincy, and he just said, "No, Jam's the captain, you know, and that's it." And when he's not on the pitch, Trippier's the captain, and that's fine. Like, there's more to a captain than playing, like you said. And that someone said, I can't remember, it might be related to Newcastle, but it was like, you get paid to train, and then you know, you play a game. But or you might be you that said that, might be one of your phrases. But you get paid. You get paid to train, and then you play the game. Like, that's not what I actually get paid for.
Yeah.
And Eddie's always talking about work. We're going to go to work, and the work we've done on the training ground, and he puts a big emphasis in that. And that's where the culture comes from, and that's where players like Lascelles, characters like Lascelles, you know, he's the king of the no dickhead, not the no dickheads, isn't he? And he's just to see him play like this, like in these big games, it's really special for him, and you know, nobody deserves it more.
Yeah, and I think I kind of stole it from Steve Kerr, who's the coach of the Golden State Warriors in the basketball. He said something similar. He said, "You don't actually get paid to play basketball. You get paid for all the other shit that goes with it. That you don't get any privacy, and you can't go out for a drink with your friends and all that sort of stuff. That's what you pay. Like, basketball is fun. Playing soccer is fun. Like, you don't get paid for that. You get paid for all the other shit that that goes along with it. But so just like I said, it's sort of seen it at the end of the game with no real threat to our goal, and what seemed not a bit. It was really tense at the time. So when the final whistle sounded, it was obviously a massive relief and things like that. But you could reflect pretty quickly and say, look, we never really looked like losing the game. Bruno obviously was the sour point, picking up that yellow card, which sees him suspended. But apart from that, I think the only two negatives really were sort of Dan Burn going off with that back injury, where he sort of leapt over Joel Linton and landed really awkwardly in his back. Back's a really funny thing. So who knows with the travel and all that, if he'd be right for Dortmund this week. But I think most fans would be not happy, but kind of comfortable to see Livramento in the right back position and Trippier play left back, which he has done for England a bit lately. So it's not a foreign position to him, but Livramento has been outstanding, sort of the games that he's played, and we've sort of been saying this nearly every single time, but it looks like we've stolen one again, and we've got unders for a player who looked like he could be anything, Jack.
Livramento is what a 20-year-old fullback that costs 35 million. That's what he looks like, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant defensively. He's good going forward. He was flawless against Martinelli, who's one of the best wide players in the league. He won that battle. He just seems to have it all, and he's had to bide his time to get in. But I remember watching him for Southampton, and I very rarely pay too much attention to players of other clubs, but he caught the eye. He looks so good, and he was 18 at that time. He's coming off the back of an ACL injury, but I think that's going to be one of the best transfers that the club makes in a long time. And
yeah.
He's learning from Trippier at the moment. He might struggle to get into the team at right back ahead of Trippier, but like you said, Trippier's played left back for England in tournaments. That he can do that, no problem. It's just going to change the balance of the team a little bit because so much goes through the right hand side in an attacking sense. But Livramento's got attributes that Trippier doesn't have, like carrying the ball forwards. He can run with it, and so can Willock. Willock's coming back in, so that those two could change the dynamic of how we attack. So it's good to have the options, and I would have no problems at all if Trippier's left back at Dortmund and Livramento's there because he's not going to let anybody down. He's just so good.
No, and I think that the prospect of Trippier and Gordon on the same side is very tantalising as well. So that's a wait and see for during the week. So yeah, the win. When we're 10 games in, and I think the table's kind of maybe too early to look at, but in the scheme of the season, it was a massive win. A loss meant we would have been 10 points behind Arsenal after 10 games or 11 games, which is really, really bad. But luckily, we got the win there, only 4 points behind them, and it seems really close. So, yeah, we don't want to be hyperbolic, but in the context of the season already, it's a very important win. And I guess it's really good to kind of be on the right end of a sort of midweek game, and then the following weekend, our results haven't been great. Feels like we've dropped points against Wolves and West Ham after tough midweek games, but it was good to finally be on the right side of it. But we'll get to the last sort of major talking point, which didn't happen on the field, Jack. It was so we caught the host interview one-on-one with Mikel Arteta after the game, and it was embarrassing and it was a disgrace, and he used them words 6 or 7 times easily. And then so like I said, I'm not sure where you were if this was your back to bed time, but then they had Eddie Howe on and they'd spoken to him about it, and he said he hadn't actually seen any replays yet of the Gordon, and he was kind of frustrated with the whole process because they didn't really know what was going on, and the longer it went, I think he thought it was going to be disallowed and things like that. But in the meantime, Mikel's doing the full press conference, and he went even more ballistic. We say Ken Bruce here, so there's an ad here in Australia where Ken Bruce goes completely mad. So if someone's sort of losing their composure a little bit, we tend to say he's gone Ken Bruce. So Mikel went fully Ken Bruce, and like you said, on the surface he looks like he's gone completely unhinged, but I reckon he, like any sort of really smart manager does, was a bit of a smokescreen for his sort of lackluster sort of performance in front of goal.
Yeah, he completely lost his head. So whether it was, I don't think it was fully intentional because he's got form for not being able to control himself.
After losses, let's just
after losses.
It's a lossing thing. He's not a good loser. Let's be honest. No. He's a loser, but he's not a good loser.
Yeah, in fact, fine. You don't have to be a good loser, and no elite level football manager should be a good loser, really. But you can still. You don't. Yeah, he is. He's a bit unique, Eddie, the way but you don't he just lost his head. And I wanted, because I did watch that interview straight after, and I wanted the interviewer to say what specifically is an embarrassment and what specifically is a disgrace, because he didn't really even go into it in the press conference, the 3-minute press conference, into specifics. But then
he felt sick to be a part of it, to be honest. He felt sick.
I was reading the quotes from his BBC or listening to his BBC one, and he did say, go into more specifics there, and it was that he said the ball was out of play, which if it wasn't, or it was inconclusive, like we've said, the word of the day. But it probably was a bit of trying to take the heat off, probably his goalkeeper for one, because he keeps rotating the goalkeepers and he's made a bit of a mess of that. probably the defending for the goal, that it wasn't very good. The fact that they only had one shot on target and that they missed the creativity. And I was on the Arsenal message boards after the game, which I always do after a win. And
Psychos.
a couple of their fans are talking about how they've only really played well in maybe 6 or 7 games this season, and the struggle to create. And when they come up against a team as good at defending as us, and they didn't have Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus, that it draws attention away from that, and it brings all the attention onto him. But it's kind of for the Arsenal fans as well, though, who will all back him and all say we've been cheated, and this is a narrative now that Arsenal have been cheated. And I'll be really interested to listen to the usual podcasts like the Football Weekly and podcasts like that, sort of like widely listened to see if they buy into this. But I just don't think Arteta can control himself very well, and he loses his Lego head when he plays at St James's. He can't handle it.
It's skivvy. It's the skivvy as well. It's a full Lego masterpiece.
And I don't know if Kai Havertz should have known that. But I think his players maybe feed off that as well, though, and they lose themselves as well. So Havertz should not have done that tackle, because it wasn't in Arsenal's benefit, because it got the crowd into the game, and then it got Arteta and it got Howe, and everybody got riled up by it. And Arteta just does not do well when he gets riled up. He just doesn't.
No.
That happens quite a lot against us, which is a beautiful thing to see, because I've been enjoying this. I've just been enjoying listening to him talk about being embarrassment and all of that. It's just been a beautiful thing to listen to that all day, and all the different interviews he's done. He just seems pathetic. He seems like a baby, and he has shifted the narrative. That's fine. Let him get on with that. But yeah, I think have a sook. That's what we say in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah. We might have a couple of words after that too, but that's the start of it anyway. I said losing before. I don't even think it's losing. I think if he doesn't get what he wants, he's like a spoiled child. If he doesn't get what he wants, there's a full psychotic episode coming up. Like same as last year when it was a draw. So like they didn't even lose the game, but he was unhinged after that game as well, that they didn't win. Like whether it's just us, I don't really follow his press conferences that intently or in depth, but yeah, we've definitely got under his skin. There's no doubt about it. Whether the way we play or the things that have happened during our games, he doesn't cope as well, and it's funny to watch, because the few times that it's happened, we've got something out of it, so it's always better. But I guarantee if they had drawn the game or won the game, he wouldn't have mentioned anything of it.
Nah. There was a video of him doing the rounds where he's talking about how the referees have done a very bad job.
Yeah, we should just make it easier and accept what they say. And
it's like him and Klopp as well now. It's like if their teams don't win, it's like how dare this opponent stop the mighty Liverpool or the mighty Arsenal from winning the game. They're just like, how dare they do that? They don't. Yeah. Who are you? You don't deserve it. And he actually said that only one team was trying to win the game. Interesting as analysis. Yeah. He just can't control himself. And there's nothing so beautiful in football as a complete head loss, an absolute lost your head.
Yeah,
it's just so good to see.
Yeah, even if it's not in a game that involves your team, when you just see someone just lose it, it's glorious. And like we've got a couple of examples here in the AFL, especially the past players like Google Mark Jackson and stuff like that. Like it's hilarious to watch these fully grown adults completely lose their mind. It's so funny to watch. And like I said, given our coaching staff, I don't think we'll ever see Eddie Howe lose that. And if he does lose it, I'd hate to see what the incident would be that tips him over the edge, because he's so cool, calm, and collected, and he's composed. And I'm just so happy that he's our manager and we don't have a Sookie Whinger in charge. So, like I said, we're up to 6th now. I think 4 points off third, which is really good. Statistically, clearly the most hardest start to the season as well. We're 10 or 11 games in. So to be in that position, Jack, I think it's really good. And we definitely got a lot of winnable games coming up, both home and away in the league anyway. So
we've only played two. We've only played two of the teams below us at St James's Park as well. There's 14 teams below us. We've only played two, so we have had a statistically hard start. Everyone plays everyone at the end. It does feel like Man United and Villa seem to be playing like Luton or Nottingham Forest every week.
Every week, yeah. And then they play shit and end up winning. Like not so much Villa. Villa's been really good this season, but Man United, the Old Trafford's falling down, but they just keep, especially in the league, they just hit us these late winners and things like that, and they just keep hanging around, which is kind of annoying because I think we're all ready for them to crash and burn, and we can all have a great laugh at their expense after being on the wrong end of that for 25 years. But
I think the name of the game for us now is just to keep in touch with top four. Keep a couple of points, or 4 or 5 points, because if we can get through the last European group game in sort of 4 or 5 weeks, and if we're still in touch with top four, I don't think you can complain about that at all. And if we beat Bournemouth, we're on record to beat the points tally from last season as well. So and we've got 71 points. So there's good teams around us, but the bottom of the league is not very strong this season. So the top teams might put on quite high points totals this season. But if we can keep in touch with top four, I think that's going to be a good indication of how the season's going to go.
Yeah, for sure. And even just with, like you said, the fixtures and stuff like that, I'm even just looking at this little block, just trying to get through the next international break, get a couple of results, positive results, and more so try and get a couple of bodies back after it. I think Murphy's probably going to be long-term now. There is some big concerns around Botman and his knee and what that looks like as well. But even Anderson's a massive miss, especially with Tonali missing for the rest of the season and leaving us kind of with one midfielder now, Bruno suspended. So I guess Willock will come into the team for Bournemouth, and Miley would probably be the replacement, which is, he's been all right since he come on, but we need Anderson back in that team. So that's another discussion for another day. Maybe that can be our next international break podcast, is see who's available after the international break and what our options would be. But that'll do for us now, mate. Thanks for jumping on. I know you've had a pretty tough day at home, but it's always good to revel in these kinds of things, and we're still not used to it. I don't know about you, but I'm still not used to it. It's really exciting, and it still means a lot to beat one of the big four teams. And I know we're doing it a bit more now, but yeah, I'm still in the exciting stage, and it doesn't feel normal yet that we should just rock up and beat them.
It doesn't. And just the final thing I'll say is that this really felt like a proper clash between two heavyweights. A really tactical. It was a real arm wrestle. It could have gone either way. It was two top quality physical teams, top quality technical teams, and it was just so good to come out on top. And like I said, it does happen a bit more now, these games, and yeah, long may this continue. And it does, when you get a win like this, it does sort of make up for some of the heartbreak we've had earlier on this season and last season and the cup final and stuff. So love it. Absolutely love it. I'll still be smiling tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have another podcast like this. I'm not sure if it'd be Wednesday night or Thursday night after the Dortmund game away. So definitely tune in for that. Don't forget, hit subscribe, get us to 1,500, and wherever you're watching or listening, have yourself a great day, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. See ya.